Now that we've got all of our walls placed and our room set up, let's get into adding our doors and windows. So I've got a 3D window open here so we can see what's happening as we do it. And over here in my 2D window, it's getting pretty messy with everything that's going on. So I'm just going to turn some layers off so that we can see what we're doing. So I am going to turn off this layer. And I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to turn off my room labels. So you can do this way in Premiere and in Interiors because you can have your layer display menu open over here. So this makes it really easy to turn layers on and off. If you're in Home Designer Pro, you're going to need to go into your layer options. Let's see, let's go into Home Designer Pro. You're going to need to go here into your display options and just turn the layers on and off here. So if I wanted to turn off, let's see, I have the room labels. If I wanted to turn those room labels off, I could do that here. So to just help clean things up so you can see. So that's how you do that in Home Designer Pro. So, but in Interiors, it would be the same. So, and I'm also going to just turn off my dimensions for a minute so we can just see what we're doing and clean that up a little bit better. And there's a dimension that looks like I added manually, so I'm just going to turn that one off as well. All right, so for doors and windows, these are our icons up here. Let's start with doors. So I know I've got a front door here. So anytime I use any of the door features, the program is going to know if you're adding it to an interior or an exterior door. So if I add a door here, it's going to give me my default exterior style of door that's set up. If I add a door here on an interior wall, it's going to give me, let me orbit that around a bit better. So you can see it's going to give me an interior style door. So it knows if you're inside or outside. So I am going to first, as we do with all of our items, we're going to get our defaults set up because this is not the style that I want to use in this house. So I'm going to select my exterior door and go into its properties. And I am going to go into the library and I'm going to change that door style. So once you get in here, you've got all of these door styles. If you click the main part of the menu, you can see the tiny little icons here. So I'm going to choose a different door style that I want to use for this project. Let's see. I'm going to go into the archtop doors and I'm going to use this one here. I like that little detail of that window there, so that's the one I'm going to use. So I've changed that door style. So you can see what's happened. It's an archtop door, but my my casing is still square. So what I have to do, I have to tell that that's an arch. So I need a round top arch, and now that's going to fix my casing. So I can go in and adjust all of these items within my door. I can change the casing style from the library. I can change its sizes. I can do different on the interior versus the exterior. I can use a sill or threshold here. So I can take that on and off. So that's handy to use if you've got a floor transition. So essentially that's going to be like your transition strip on the exterior there. So we've got our sill there. In our options, we could make it a double door if we wanted to. That's not going to work on this one, obviously. You can choose the option to show it open. And then if you go back over here into this is the amount that it's open, your swing angle. So if I just wanted to show it partially open in 3D, I could change it. Oh, I always do that. I hit enter. So let me go back. So that just shows it at 45 degrees. So and that also will show on your plan view as well. So I am going to, because it's my front door, I'm going to go ahead and keep that closed to show closed there. And I'm going to keep the rest of these options as default, but you have a lot of options here with your doors. So click OK to that. You can also adjust your swing angle here. So you can just grab that little arrow and show it. So that's really handy for your floor plan views. A lot of times if you've got several doors in a tight space, or you want to show a closet door partially opened like that, that's handy. But because I've got it set to show as closed, it's not affecting it in my 3D view. But I'm going to keep it like that. And you can also change the hinge side and the swing side with these two options here. So this button here changes the swing direction from left to right, and this changes it from in to out. So whenever you place the wall, sometimes it doesn't place exactly how you want it. So you can use these little buttons to just change that around. Let's get it back. Yep, so that's how I want that to open. And then I want that door centered on this entryway so that that's nice and centered. Okay, so for our interior doors, let's see. Well, actually, let's make this our default door. I'm just going to select that, and I'm going to make that my default door. And that's been updated. So now when I go to place my exterior door here, it will be my same door. There it is. And it's got the swing going the correct direction, I think. Actually, so let's turn back on the drawing underneath so we can see what we want to place where. So that's where I want that door to go. And you can see that these labels pop up for this door, and that's showing you its size. So this is a 3 foot wide, 6'8" tall door. So that's handy. You can turn that off over here in your door labels if you don't want that to show. But that is showing what size that door is, and that will turn into a door symbol label when you make a schedule. But for now, it shows the width and height of that door. Okay, so let's get our interior doors set up. So this is not where I want an interior door like that. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to add, just start here with this door. And that's the wrong direction, so I'm going to change the swing like that. And there's a couple of ways I can adjust the door. I can grab the handle there and pull it, and it'll go in inch increments. So I can get it. I want all the doors in this house to be 3 foot wide. And then I can nudge it into place. I actually want this door centered on the hallway, so I'm going to use the center tool and center it there. So now it's placed, but it's not the style that I want. Let's see what it looks like over here. So let's open up the dialog box for the door and go to the library, and you'll see now it knew that these were interior doors. So these are all of our options. It opens straight up into that library, and I'm just going to do let's see, I'm going to do a basic, here we go. I'm going to do this more simple 2-panel door that doesn't have the raised panels on the inside. I'm just going to do a more simple 2-panel. So that's my door style. I can also go in and change my hardware Right now it's got the lever, so I'm actually going to leave that as my default because that's what I want to use. But I can go in and change any of this from the library. You can add your own and add other libraries. You can change the hinges, all of this information you can update. I'm going to leave the rest of that as default as it comes for now. So okay, so that changed the door style and my height. And all of my ceilings here are 9 feet throughout, so I'm going to keep a standard 6'8" door. I'm not going to make bigger doors for this. So I'm going to make that my default. Okay. And remember, in Home Designer Pro, you've got to go into your, let's open up Home Designer Pro. You've got to go into your default settings, into your doors, and update your doors in here like this to change your defaults. So before you place your doors, just go in and get them set up here how you want them, and then they will all place as defaults. So let's cancel out of that and go back to Premiere. Okay, so that is my default door is set. So now anytime I place a door, it's going to be the correct style how I want it to be. And when you go to place the door, it snaps into the wall, and then wherever you hover your mouse is where the swing is going to be. Sometimes you can get it to flip the swing. Sometimes it doesn't want to. So you just place it, and then I hit the space bar or escape to escape out of the tool, and then I can select it and use this tool to just change that swing. So where else do we have hinged doors inside? We've got one here at the pantry. And so because that's a closet, I don't want it out into that door out in the hallway, so I'm just going to change that. And we put that door there. Okay, that's all our hinged doors. So now I've got, let's do the closet doors. So I'm going to do the sliding doors for the closet. There's also bifold doors or pocket doors. In these closets, we're going to do the sliding door. So I'll drop that in right there, and let's go in and look at what that is. So it's that same default style that was there before. So I want to go in and change that. I liked this one, the more plain one, and I'm going to keep everything else the same as the defaults. And let's look at, I'm going to keep it, I'm going to show it as closed because it's a closet and we don't care really to look in there necessarily. So I'm going to keep that closed. I'm going to keep everything else the same. So okay, actually I'm going to show this bedroom door open. So the other thing you can do is just select the door, and then there's this button right here that will open that door for you. So I'm actually going to open my bathroom door too. And let's see, where else do we need a sliding door? Let's put one on this closet here. Oops. You can add things in 3D, but it's a lot easier to do it in 2D. And I'm going to make this a 48-inch, and I can just do it right like that. So that's 4'0", 6'8", and I'm going to center that on my closet. What was the size on this door? It's a 5-foot door, so that's what I want there. Okay, that's all my sliding doors. So I'm going to do some cased openings now. And that is a doorway. Your doorway is going to be your cased opening. So I've got one here between the kitchen and the living room. It's essentially an open concept plan that we're doing here with just a little bit of separation just for architectural purposes, because I wanted to have these beams in here and I wanted to have a space for a table or a desk right here. So I can just pull that open and let's see. So there is that. Okay, look, here's a mistake that I just saw that I made. I placed this door and I did not make it my default style. So when I placed this door, it did the other style. So I need to select that and I need to make that my default. Yep. And it's not going to update this one. Oh, it did. It updated it. Sometimes if you if you make a change to an object, it won't change it automatically if you change the defaults. It will only change it if you have it left, but it changed it. So, so that's good. So that changed that for my default doors. So be sure to make the default door so you don't have to go back and spend time making changes. This all comes down to efficiency and working as fast as you possibly can. All right, so here is my cased opening in this room, and it's also an 80-inch, 6'8" door, but I'm actually going to raise this up in here just a little bit to make this a little bit more grand. So I'm actually going to pull that up, and you can see you can do it in 3D. So I'm going to pull that up to 90 inches. So that is a little bit higher, a little bit more grand, and it gives us just a little bit more view from room to room. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and make that my default too. And so that's going to do the width and the height and everything. So I also need a cased opening in several other places, so it's going to be too wide when I do it like that. Let me go over here. So that fills that whole space, and I really don't want that one that wide. But Chief will also fit it into a space. So if you try to put something that's too big, it will fit it down in there for you. But I still don't want it quite wall to wall. I want it to be 72 inches, so 6 foot, and then 7'6". And let's center that. And I have a cased opening here and here. So I'm going to put one here. And again, that made it really too big, but I only want it 4 feet wide. No, what do I want it? I want it 42 inches wide. So the other thing that I can do is I can copy and paste this. So I can use my Control C, and then I can use Control V and paste. So that will paste that door again over here, and then I just want to center that door on that. So that's another way to do it. And then I've also got a cased opening here, so I'm going to also paste that same door right there. And then I'm going to center that on that hallway. So I've got my 3 cased openings there. So let's look around the house here in 3D and see what we've got. So we've got access through here, all through here, into the closet and the bedroom. We've got access into the laundry room, the bathroom, and the water closet. So everything has a door, and so that's all of our doors. We will actually also have another door here on our shower. We'll have a glass shower wall, but we'll get into that when we get into doing the bathroom. So that is all our doors. So let's do windows. All right, windows are going to essentially act the same way as the doors. So we're going to grab a window here. And again, if you're in Home Designer Pro, go on into your default settings right now and get this window set up. Well, let's just do it like that here. We'll go into our default settings, into our window. So here's our default window. If we drop it in, that's what it's going to look like. So I want to do a single hung window. I don't want a double hung. And I want my default window to be 36 inches wide by 60 inches high. My windows are all different throughout the house. This is usually my default that I like to use because this creates an egress window. So I know that I at least have that for my bedrooms when I'm starting out, and then I make adjustments from there. So I just always start out with an egress window just because to me that's kind of an intuitive way to do it. But you can go in and set any of your casings and sills. You can in here go ahead and set your lights. So if you've got mullions here, you can add them with your lights, however many you've got. I'm not using those in this project. Just got one light on each part. And I'm just going to keep the casing as default sizes and everything. So that's going to set our default window, and we're going to say done with that. So now, whenever I place my window, I'm going to go to my window tool, window, and I'm going to place my window here in my living room, and I've got two windows there, and I've got a window there, and I've got a window there. And I'm just dropping them in to generally where I want them, and then I'll go back and adjust their exact position and their exact sizes. So like I said, I just set a default so that I can have the general style in there. So this window is going to, I can see on my drawing, I think this one's, so when you grab your window, when you highlight your window like that, some temporary dimensions pop up. So you can use those to set your information to. So if that's a 30-inch window, I can set it like that. So in my living room, I've got my two 30-inch windows rather than 36. So get those. That temporary dimension pops up there. You have to grab the end where you want it to move. If you move it like this, then you can set this at your exact dimension. If you just grab the window in the center like this, you can't change the size like that. You have to get one of the end points of where you want it to move. And then it will, whichever one has the red highlight, that's the end that will move. All right. So I've got my I've got my living room windows placed. Let me go here. Back to my my mouse orbit tool. Okay, so one of the things that I am straight away noticing is the material here on my windows is that's not what I want it to be. I just want it to be all white to match this. So I'm going to use my material dropper tool here, and I'm going to pick up this white paint color here that's on this. And then when I do that, I get these options down here. So this will paint just the component. So this will paint just whatever one element that you select. This will paint everything in that object that color. This will paint everything in the room that color that corresponds. Anything that's this, anything that you touch, it won't paint everything in the room. So everything that's this color, if I want to paint that blue, then everything that's blue will change that's in that room. Right now that's all of this part is one component, so it changed that. So and then this will change everything on the entire floor. If you have multiple floors, this will change everything on the entire project. So right now that blue color is on those windows, it's on my front door, and it's on my back door. But I want everything in the project. I've decided to change everything in the project from that blue. So I'm going to pick that up, and I'm going to pick up that white, and I'm going to paint that, and now everything that was blue has now changed colors. So even the front door. All right. So we'll probably have to do that again later because that's not how my default is set. So just an efficiency tip, but that's a quick way to change colors because that happens through the design process. Sometimes we change colors. So that's an easy way to do it. Okay, I've got my windows there. And let's see, where else do we need to add windows? We need windows in the bedroom. So I've got here, I've designed a mold unit for these front windows. So I need to get into this one. So I need to add my center window, and then I've got 2 side windows that I want to add here. And I do not want them to look like that. I want these 2 side windows. You see, this one has changed my default back to that blue, but I can do a little trick and just change that. So, it changed it in the whole project again, but I can just reset that default so that now everything I put in is going to have the white, not that blue anymore. All right, so for these 2 windows, I want these 2 windows. I want this one to have an arch design on the side. So I'm going to go over here to the arch, and I'm going to tell it that I want a round top, and I only want it on the right side for that window. And on this one, I want an arch, and I want a round arch, and I only want it on the left side. So now I've got this kind of interesting window shape, and then I'm actually going to make this window a little bit taller. I'm going to bump that up to 72. So I just have a little bit more of an interesting shape there. And what I can do now is I can make sure that all of these are bumped right up to each other. All of these windows are connected there together, and I'll recenter it after I do this, but I can hold my shift key and I can select all 3. So now they're all selected. So now I have this option that we've used before to group things together that will mold that window together. That will make that one mold unit. So visually, that takes the trim and connects it all together. And it also changes it here to a one large mold unit rather than 3 separate windows. So that's how you make a mold unit like that. Okay, let's see, where else do we have some windows? I like to add a window in the closet sometimes. Get over here. You've got to be in the right window every time. So let's add a window in the closet, and then we'll adjust that. And let's add a window over the bathtub. And let's see, let's add a window over the kitchen sink. And one in the laundry room, which we will need to adjust all of these. Okay, so for the window over the kitchen sink, we'll just start making these adjustments. This one's going to be a little tiny window just to get in a little natural light and to get ventilation if we needed it in the laundry room, but we need space between where we're going to have some upper cabinets, and we need space here for a light fixture. So it has to be a little tiny window. I'm just going to make it like 12 inches wide, and I'll adjust the height here in a minute. And then this window is going to center over the bathtub, and I'm going to make it 2'8". And make that one match it because this is all on that elevation. And then I'm going to add 2 windows in my kitchen as well, and they're going to be different. So I am going to I'm going to drop one in, and then I'm going to change it. This one, I want it to be a fixed glass, and it's only going to be about 18 inches wide, and it's going to be only about 16 inches high because it's I do that every time, you guys. I hit enter every time. Okay. Because I want this to sit in my backsplash. So this is going to be a little window that sits between the countertop and the upper cabinets. So I'm actually turning off all of its interior casing. So let's turn it around. And I'm going to turn off its interior sill as well, because my tile backsplash is just going to wrap all the way up to this window. So that's about how that window's going to be. I might adjust the width in a bit, but that's how it sits. It's just going to sit right over where this cabinet's going to sit. And so I'm going to just copy that, Control C, and then Control V, and put one right there. So I'm just going to have 2 little windows that sit on either side of the range there. And I'll adjust them in a minute where they need to be. But you can see how the temporary dimensions pop up. And when I turn my dimensions back on, the automatic dimensions should be updating there too. Let's see. Let's see what that looks like from the outside. All right, so I've placed them way too high. I didn't think about that when we were in there, but I can grab those and I can pull them down here. So I can adjust them there, and you can see those dimensions that pop up. So you can make adjustments there, and they're going to sit right above my countertop. So 36.5 is pretty good, and I can fine tune that in elevation when I get there. So that's going to be pretty good. And this window, I'm going to make a little window that's like above my countertop. And I want my header on this one to match. So I'm just going to make that 36. So my headers here should be at 80. So I can actually go into my window here and I can check here to the top, and I can make my header 80 there too. So now all of my headers will match going across there. And let's see what these are. These should all be set at 80 as well. So those are all at 80. So we've got all our header heights the same all the way around the house. All right, and so for these 2 windows, this one's going to be over the bathtub, so I'm going to pull its height up much higher, its sill height up. And we can adjust that when we get the tub in there. And I'm going to make this one match. I think I did this one at 36, so I'm going to do this one at 36 sill height. Oop. There we go. So those are both, and so those just match. That helps that elevation. And I'm not having any windows on this side because that's where I want to put my bed, and I've got plenty of windows here, and this is plenty big for an egress window in the bedroom. So we're covered for that. So that looks like we've got all of our doors and windows in and placed and styled. So we can make any adjustments we need to when we get into elevations here in a bit, but that is the basic placement of our doors and windows.